Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Emma and I help people to heal from chronic dizziness such as PPPD. If you're new here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you want to see more videos that can help you to heal from dizziness. And if you like the video, please like it because it will help it to reach more people. So in this video today, I wanted to talk about the role that our nervous systems has when we're trying to heal from PPPD. And this comes off the back of speaking to so many people now that are struggling with their mental health as well as the PPPD, whether they had mental health issues before the PPPD or as a result of the PPPD. They could be reporting things like really high levels of stress or anxiety or worry, just constantly feeling like they're on edge. They just don't feel safe inside their own body and that they have no control over the dizziness whatsoever. Now, a lot of this does actually point towards having a weakened nervous system, and that is a nervous system that is sensitive and easily triggered, which means that quite often you might feel in a state of the fight, flight, freeze response where you're not feeling comfortable with what's going on in your body. You want to run from it. You just feel like you're trying to distract yourself away from it, and that it's just an overall feeling of feeling really unsafe inside your own body. So as much as having the dizziness, you've also feel like you've got no sense of control over it either. And that quite often does point to the nervous system, which is why I wanted to cover off some information and share some tips with you on how you can heal your nervous system as part of your recovery. So the nervous system is, we've got the central nervous system, which is our brain and our spinal cord. We've then got our peripheral nervous system, which are the nerves that branch off from the spinal cord to the rest of our body. Now, the role of the nervous system is that it's actually involved in receiving information from the environment around us, and it's responsible for generating responses to that information. So it's constantly gaining information from our five senses and trying to make sense of that. So that all pieces together into how we perceive our reality and what is going on around us. So having a healthy nervous system is actually really crucial to healing from PPPD, because I'm yet to meet a person that says that stress and anxiety actually makes their dizziness better. It's just not true. Dizziness, anxiety, fear, panic, worry, stress, they all go hand in hand in terms of triggering the dizziness, making it worse, making us feel more unhappy, more unsafe, and more out of touch with who we really are. So we've got the nervous system can actually be in two different states. So you've got the parasympathetic nervous system state, which is the rest and digest, which is when you're feeling really calm, really relaxed, which is how you really want to be feeling most of the time. You've then got the sympathetic nervous system state, which is responsible for the fight, flight, freeze response, which is when you'll start to feel more worry, more anxiety, and maybe you might get physical symptoms such as a racing heartbeat. You might feel sweaty, you might feel lightheaded. It might just really make the dizziness worse. So if you can relate to any of those feelings, if you feel like you're being quite easily triggered, then that probably suggests that you're more in a sympathetic fight, flight, freeze nervous system response than you are in the parasympathetic nervous system state, which is your rest and digest response. So I would say that I spent up to around 2 years feeling like I was in a really constantly high stressed, worked up state, and I didn't actually understand at the time that this was my nervous system that was actually behind the way I was feeling. And even though right at the beginning when the dizziness all started for me, I never had any mental health issues at all. I would describe my mental health as being completely solid. I don't think I ever really had a lot of anxiety before. If I did, it was like very brief, very temporary. It wasn't an issue, and I actually don't really think I appreciated how lucky I was before all of this happened to me, about how healthy I was both physically and mentally as well. So when the dizziness first started for me, I never really had this nervous system issue. I never really had all of the stress, but what I did have was a really kind of unsafe feeling in my body, because at this stage I didn't know what PPPD was. I was being passed around from doctor to doctor. No one was really able to help me. I just felt like there was something really seriously wrong with me. That naturally produced a lot of anxiety, a lot of panic. And when the dizziness was bad, I would really get myself worked up. And I felt like I had no control over what was going on. I would go into what was almost panic attacks. And it was so scary and so frightening. And I just couldn't explain what was going on. But that actually got worse, and it developed over time to the point where I was getting triggered so easily by things. And I just couldn't understand why that was. I didn't understand the role that my nervous system was playing in the triple PD. And I don't know if you guys can relate to that as well. I know that because it took me so long to get the triple PD diagnosis, I was just constantly thinking that the doctors were missing something, and that, you know, at any given point I was going to pass out, have a stroke or heart attack. You know, I was going to, you know, something really serious was going to happen. They were going to find a brain tumor. I was going to die. And these were all, you know, it sounds crazy to say, but I'm sure you guys can relate to me. It feels so real in those moments when you feel like you are completely losing control of what's going on. And the dizziness, you just think, you know, this can't be normal. There has to be something wrong. And those repetitive thoughts, that response that I kept having to the dizziness, over time, that just really made me more stressed and anxious generally, to the point where I would say maybe 9 to 12 months after the dizziness had first started, the anxiety levels for me were just, you know, I felt like I hit rock bottom. I would wake up in the morning and the first thing I would feel was the anxiety. You know, the fear of what was going to happen in the day ahead, what was going to unravel, what was going to happen to me. Would I be able to hold it together? Would I be able to cope? Could I make it through another day? And what I actually wasn't doing at that point was I wasn't trusting my body. I wasn't trusting the doctors. I wasn't learning to feel safe, and I wasn't managing my symptoms. And, you know, that also wasn't my fault, because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't realize that what I was actually doing was training my body to feel a threat from the dizziness, that I was training my body to feel unsafe, and that the dizziness was something that I needed to run from, that I needed to escape. And meanwhile, I was just hoping that one day that the dizziness was just going to go away, and that, you know, this would all just be one big nightmare, and that would be it. So that's why I really want to share this video as well, because, you know, maybe you don't know either. Maybe you're not aware that your nervous system is actually responsible for the way that you're feeling and the way that you're interpreting the dizziness, and that actually the dizziness is completely safe. As long as you've had medical clearance from your doctors and you know that there's nothing more serious going on, then the dizziness is just an uncomfortable sensation. And I know that it can be crippling and it can be so uncomfortable at times, but it's safe. It's not something that you need to continually fear. So I want to share with you a couple of tips that you can use to actually start to heal your nervous system. Because if you do feel like you've got a lot of emotional and mental issues that are in connection to the triple PD, then you'll probably find that working on healing your nervous system would be really helpful and really beneficial to healing. Because if you can start to change your response to the dizziness and you can start to feel more safe inside your body, you'll feel less triggered, so that in time the dizziness will become less and less as you're able to feel more confident and go out and enjoy your life and do things without worrying whether the dizziness is going to come in and stop you from enjoying things, or make you feel like you need to go home, or that, you know, that it just stops you from being able to do what you really want to do. So one of my first tips for helping to heal the nervous system is meditation, regular meditation. So regular meditation has actually been proven to shrink a part of the brain in our emotional brain that's called the amygdala. Now the amygdala is it's part of our survival brain that's actually responsible for triggering that fight, flight, freeze response. So if you're constantly feeling highly anxious and highly stressed and easily triggered, it's likely that your amygdala is probably slightly bigger than the average person, and that's perfectly normal and it's perfectly safe. That's not a bad thing. It just means that your brain has become more accustomed to feeling that level of threat, which means it's just making you more prepared to fight, flight, freeze, you know, when you need to. But of course, we want to be able to feel more rest and digest in our parasympathetic nervous system state, which is what meditation can help us to do. So meditation regularly will help us to shrink the amygdala back down, which means that in time you will feel less triggered and that you will be able to feel more calm and relaxed in situations that would otherwise make you feel quite stressed. So, daily meditation is ideal, even if it's only for 10-15 minutes. But if you don't have time, even though I would really encourage you to make time, but if you don't meditate every day, then at least try to meditate several times a week so that you can really start to get some long-term benefits from that. Another tip that you can use to help to calm the nervous system is deep breathing. So a really simple deep breathing exercise that you can do would be to breathe in for a count of 4 breaths and breathe out for a count of 8 breaths. If you repeat that cycle 6 times, and then you can move up to breathing in for a count of 5 breaths and out for a count of 10 breaths. Do that 6 times and then move on to a final round of breathing in for a count of 6 and out for a count of 12 if you can. That's we've all got different capacities in terms of how much we can actually breathe, but this is something that in time with practice you can get better at. The most important thing is that the breath in is a nice big deep exhale, and that your inhale, and that a nice big deep long exhale is actually longer than your inhale, so that you're really starting to focus on calming that nervous system down. So that exercise will take just under 5 minutes, and that is usually enough time to start to feel some benefits and to start to feel a little bit more calm. It allows your brain to switch on that parasympathetic nervous system. And if you do that regularly, then again, as with anything, you'll start to get better at it. So my final tip for helping to calm the nervous system is something that I have sort of touched on already, and that is learning to change your response to the dizziness. This is so crucial, and it's something that a lot of people, they don't understand or they don't know how to do it. But you need to start to learn to perceive the dizziness as something that is safe, so that you don't feel like you're being triggered by the dizziness, so that you're not switching that nervous system on that gives you all of those other physical uncomfortable symptoms that we've already discussed. So you can check out some of my other videos, the practical exercise to help you cope with difficult emotions. That's a really good one, but it's really ultimately about sitting and feeling the dizziness. And no matter what you're feeling, it's about just really focusing on feeling safe inside your body when you feel the dizziness. And if you can continue to do that in particularly high stress situations, when you feel like you just want to get up, run, or distract yourself, that is really the time when you need to do it. So you're retraining your brain to feel safe inside your body. When you can feel safe, when you feel the dizziness, your brain will stop sending off this big alarm, this big siren that says, hey, this is really dangerous, we need to run from it. So it's really about retraining your brain to feel safe when you feel the dizziness. So that is 3 tips that you can use, that you can apply daily. So it's meditation, deep breathing, and learning that the dizziness is safe, learning to sit through any difficult and unwanted emotions so that you can retrain the brain, that new sense of calm, that you don't need to run from the dizziness. It is really no big deal. And then you'll find that in time the dizziness will start to get better and better, which means you'll feel more confident to go out and do different things. And the dizziness will just be more it will just be more in the background, which is when you can just start to go and live and enjoy your life, and without kind of having the dizziness ruin it for you, or without you being afraid that the dizziness is going to crop up. Because if the dizziness does pop up, it's no big deal anyway. And when you can take that approach, then the quicker the dizziness will just disappear again. And that is essentially what healing is. So it's why I really encourage you to really focus on healing the nervous system, as well as trying to heal from the dizziness, because naturally, if you can have a really healthy nervous system that's really calm, really relaxed all of the time, the dizziness will be less as a result of that, because you haven't got all of these other triggers that are making it worse. So I hope that was helpful, guys. As always, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. But until then, I will see you next time in the next video. Bye.